Old V8s hit 300,000 miles with just oil changes. Today's engines? Dead at 100,000. What changed? Automakers replaced forgiving, under-stressed workhorses with turbos spinning at 250,000 RPM and oil that cooks itself at 1,700 degrees. The simple contract is broken, and it's costing you thousands. Here's the truth they're hiding. The new engine contract. For decades, the contract was simple. You do the basic maintenance, oil changes, filters, belts, and your engine would reward you with a long, loyal life. Hitting 200,000 miles wasn't a fantasy. It was the expectation for a well-kept car. Those old engines were often built with a simple, forgiving robustness that made them legendary workhorses. But that contract has been torn to shreds. The entire game has changed, thanks to a perfect storm of government regulations and our own demands. Regulators want cleaner emissions now. We, the drivers, want neck-snapping power combined with the fuel economy of a tiny city car. Caught in this impossible squeeze, automakers unveiled what seemed like a miracle: downsizing and boosting. They ripped out the big, reliable V6s and V8s, replaced them with tiny 4-cylinders, and then slapped on a turbocharger to rocket the power back up. They rolled out hyper-precise fuel systems like gasoline direct injection, or GDI, to wring every ounce of energy from every drop of fuel. On paper, it was the ultimate win-win. Engines became lighter, more powerful, and sipped fuel like never before. But this progress came at a staggering hidden cost. We've officially entered the era of the high-strung engine. These are not the lazy, under-stressed V8s of yesterday. Today's engines are elite athletes, constantly operating under crushing pressure and blistering heat, with components shaved down to save every single ounce of weight. This relentless stress leaves zero room for error, not from the factory, and especially not from you. The fallout? We're seeing an explosion of specific, wildly expensive failure patterns across nearly every brand. The J.D. Power 2024 U.S. Vehicle Dependability Study didn't mince words, noting that reported problems are climbing. Now, this doesn't mean every new car is a landmine. Hyper-reliable brands like Lexus and Toyota continue to prove that modern durability is possible. However, the industry-wide trend is undeniable. While the average car's lifespan is up, the problems that do occur are more complex and often rooted directly in the powertrain. And the first and biggest culprit is the very device that made this revolution possible: the turbocharger. The turbo's two-sided story. The turbocharger is the undisputed hero of the modern engine. It's an engineering masterpiece. Think of it as a tiny jet engine bolted to your motor. One pinwheel, spun by hot exhaust gas, spins another pinwheel that force-feeds massive amounts of air into the cylinders. More air means more fuel, and more fuel means more power. It's how a tiny 1.5-liter engine in a family SUV can crank out the same horsepower as a V6 from just 15 years ago. It's pure magic. But every magic trick has a dark secret, and the turbo's secret is heat and stress. A turbocharger can spin at a mind-boggling 250,000 revolutions per minute, and because it's powered by raw exhaust, it can reach temperatures of 1,700 degrees Fahrenheit. That biblical-level heat and pressure puts an unbelievable strain on the entire system. And the number one victim of this blistering heat? Your engine's lifeblood. It's oil. Oil does more than just lubricate. It cleans, and critically, it cools. The turbo's core has tiny bearings spinning at those insane speeds, and they depend on a constant, clean flow of high-quality oil to avoid instantaneous self-destruction. Here's the fatal flaw. That extreme heat is oil's mortal enemy. The temperatures inside a turbo can literally cook your oil, causing it to chemically break down in a process called thermal breakdown. As the oil degrades, it thins out and stops protecting components. Even worse, it bakes into hard carbon deposits, a sludge known as coke, that clogs the tiny oil lines feeding the turbo. If those arteries get blocked, the oil supply is severed and the turbo will grenade itself in seconds. This isn't a scare tactic. Service bays across the country are filled with the carnage. A turbo failure is almost never the turbo's fault. It's an oil lubrication failure. And when a turbo lets go, it can launch a spray of metal shrapnel through your engine's intake and oil system, potentially murdering the entire engine in the process. Beyond that, the sheer pressure created by the turbo, the boost, puts immense stress on your pistons, connecting rods, and bearings. Some early versions of Ford's hugely popular EcoBoost engines, for instance, ran into devastating issues where intense localized heat could cause coolant to leak into the cylinders, hydro-locking the engine and leading to complete failure. Your driving habits become a huge factor too. Turbo engines despise short trips. If you only drive a few miles at a time, your oil never gets hot enough to burn off trapped moisture and fuel. This toxic cocktail dilutes your oil, accelerating its breakdown and poisoning your engine from the inside out. The takeaway isn't that turbos are evil. They are brilliant, but they rewrite the rulebook. They transform engine oil from a simple lubricant into a mission-critical, high-performance cooling fluid. A turbocharged engine demands more from its owner. It demands the absolute best synthetic oil, and, frankly, oil changes far more frequent than the wildly optimistic schedule in your owner's manual suggests. Ignoring this new reality is a fast track to turbo failure and a four-figure repair bill. The dirty secret of direct injection. If the turbo was the answer for raw power, gasoline direct injection, GDI, was the miracle solution for efficiency. For decades, engines used port fuel injection, PFI. This system sprayed gasoline into the intake port, just behind the intake valves. This had a fantastic, unintended side effect. The constant spray of fuel acted like a shower, perpetually washing the back of the valves and keeping them sparkling clean. GDI completely flips the script. It uses a high-pressure pump to inject a fine mist of fuel directly into the cylinder itself. This gives engineers godlike control over the combustion event, allowing for a cooler, denser charge, a higher compression ratio, and ultimately, more power and stunning fuel economy. Another engineering masterpiece, right? Not so fast. By moving the injector, GDI created a massive, pervasive problem that automakers are still scrambling to solve: carbon buildup. Remember that free valve cleaning shower from the old port injection systems? It's gone. Meanwhile, every engine has a positive crankcase ventilation, or PCV system. This vents oily, gassy vapor from the crankcase back into the intake to be reburned for emissions. Now, in a GDI engine, that oily mist is sucked into the intake and hits the back of the searing hot intake valves with absolutely no gasoline to wash it away. Instead, that oil vapor bakes on, layer by layer, forming thick, hard, black carbon deposits. Over thousands of miles, this buildup acts like engine cholesterol, slowly but surely choking the airflow into your cylinders. The symptoms start small: a slight loss of power, a rough idle stumbling acceleration, and worsening fuel economy. In severe cases, a chunk of carbon can break off and tumble into the cylinder, where it can wreck a valve or piston, causing catastrophic damage. This isn't a defect that can be fixed with a recall. It's a fundamental consequence of the GDI design. How quickly it happens depends on the engine, the quality of oil you use, and your driving style. Lots of short trips where the engine doesn't get hot enough are a major contributor. So, what's the fix? You can't just pour a bottle of fuel system cleaner in your gas tank. The fuel never even touches the problem area. The only true solution is invasive and expensive: a manual cleaning. A mechanic has to perform surgery, removing the entire intake manifold to physically get to the valves and blast them clean, a process typically done with crushed walnut shells. It's effective, but it can cost you hundreds, sometimes well over $1,000. Recognizing the crisis, automakers like Toyota and Ford have engineered a brilliant, if complex, solution: dual injection systems. These engines feature both GDI injectors and old-school port injectors. They get the high-efficiency burn of GDI under most conditions, but the port injectors fire up when needed to provide that critical valve cleaning wash. It's an elegant fix, but it adds cost and complexity, which is why it's not on every engine out there. For the millions of drivers with GDI-only engines, this carbon buildup is a ticking maintenance bomb you need to be aware of. If you're finding this information helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Death by 1,000 cuts. Turbos and GDI are the notorious headliners, but the story of modern engine fragility is also a story of death by 1,000 smaller cuts, all made in the relentless pursuit of efficiency. Let's circle back to oil. To squeeze every last tenth of a mile per gallon, manufacturers have moved to shockingly thin oils, like 0W20, or even the water-like 0W16. This ultra-thin oil flows with less resistance, reducing internal friction and giving fuel economy a tiny boost. But that razor-thin film of oil provides a terrifyingly small margin of safety. It demands absolute perfection from the factory. If there is any microscopic debris left over from the manufacturing process, tiny metal shavings in an oil passage, that fragile film of oil may not be enough to prevent catastrophic metal-on-metal contact. This isn't a hypothetical. A major recall on Toyota's new 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6, which replaced their bulletproof V8s, was linked to exactly this. Machining debris that wasn't properly cleaned out at the factory could get into the engine's main bearings, starving them of oil and leading to complete engine seizure. The debris was the root cause, but in a high-strung, tight-tolerance engine running on thin oil, there is zero forgiveness for that kind of error. Then there's the obsession with weight savings. Every gram must go. This has led to an invasion of plastic parts in places where you used to find solid metal, like intake manifolds, thermostat housings, and even oil filter housings. These are advanced polymers, but after enduring thousands of heat cycles in a blistering hot engine bay, they become brittle. They crack, causing coolant and oil leaks that can quickly overheat and kill an engine if not caught immediately. Even the engine block itself isn't safe. To shave off pounds, some engines are designed with thinner cylinder walls that are more susceptible to warping under the extreme heat and pressure of a turbocharger, creating a perfect scenario for a blown head gasket. Finally, there's the frantic breakneck pace of development. The pressure to innovate is so intense that radical designs can go from a computer simulation to mass production without the years of grueling, real-world testing that older engines endured. We, the consumers, have become the final stage of beta testing for revolutionary designs that simply haven't had all the long-term kinks worked out yet. This combination, ultra-thin oils, tighter tolerances, more plastic parts, and rushed development, creates an engine that is fundamentally, structurally, less forgiving than its ancestors. How to survive the new reality? So, is every modern car an unreliable money pit destined for the scrap heap? Absolutely not. But the game has changed. Durability used to be built in. Today, longevity is something you have to actively fight for. You can't just blindly follow the owner's manual and expect 200,000 miles. You have to be smarter than the car. First, and most importantly, oil is everything. Because modern engines run hotter and are under constant stress, the oil is working 10 times harder. It's not just a lubricant anymore, it's a vital cooling fluid for components like the turbo. This is why following a 10,000 or 15,000 mile oil change schedule can be a death sentence for your engine. Those intervals are based on ideal driving, long, steady highway cruises. For the 99% of us doing city driving with short trips, that's dangerously long. Many independent mechanics, the ones who see the failures firsthand, now urge a more conservative 5,000 to 7,500 mile interval for any turbo GDI engine. Think of it as cheap insurance against a 5-figure engine replacement, and always use the exact high-quality, full synthetic oil your manufacturer specifies. No excuses, no substitutions. Second, master your driving habits. These engines need to get hot to burn off moisture and fuel contaminants in the oil. If you have a short commute, you are slowly poisoning your engine. Make it a rule to take one long, continuous drive for at least 20 to 30 minutes on the highway each week. Let the engine get fully up to temperature and clean itself out. Third, listen to your car. A check engine light is not a suggestion. Strange noises like ticking, knocking, or whining are your engine's cries for help. A noticeable loss of power or a rough idle could be that carbon buildup strangling your intake valves. Catching these problems early is the difference between a minor repair and a total write-off. Fourth, for GDI engines, accept that a carbon cleaning might just be a long-term maintenance item, no different than replacing a timing belt. If you're experiencing symptoms, ask a trusted mechanic to inspect your valves with a borescope camera. Finally, if you are buying a used car with a modern engine, a pre-purchase inspection from a mechanic you trust is absolutely non-negotiable. They must check for oil leaks, listen for turbo noises, and demand a bulletproof service history. A thick stack of receipts showing regular, frequent oil changes is your single best indicator of a healthy engine. Modern engines aren't exactly built to fail, but they will if you ignore them. Frequent oil changes, quality synthetic, and smart driving habits are your only defense. the 200,000-mile engine isn't dead yet, but you have to fight for it. And if you enjoyed the content, smash that like button and subscribe for more auto content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.